1. Introduction. My name is Mindy. I am 28 years old. For 10 years, I lived with a man named Kent. I thought he was my husband. Every morning was the same. We woke up together. We kissed. We laughed a little. We drank coffee in our kitchen. It felt like a good life. It felt perfect to me. I believed we were married. 10 years is a long time. A very long time to share a life with someone. We shared our home. We shared our days. We shared our dreams for the future. I never doubted our life together. I never questioned our connection. It felt strong and real. One day, I was cleaning the house. I looked in a closet I did not often use. High up on a shelf, I saw an old box. It was dusty. I took it down to look inside. There were some old photos and papers. Most of the papers were not important, but then I saw a folder. It looked official. I opened it carefully. Inside, I found a paper. It was a marriage certificate. It had my name, Mindy, and Kent's name. It had the date of our wedding ceremony. I smiled. This was proof of our 10 years together. But then I looked closer at the paper. I saw places for signatures. There was a place for my signature. There was a place for Kent's signature. There was a place for the person who married us to sign. My signature was there. The other person's signature was there too, but Kent's signature was missing. The line for his name was empty. There was no pen mark on that line. My hands started to shake. I held the paper, but my fingers felt weak. My heart started to beat very fast. Why was his signature not there? We had a ceremony. We said our promises. We wore rings. People came to celebrate with us. Everyone thought we were married. I thought we were married. For 10 years, I thought I was his wife. A terrible question came into my mind. It was a question I had never thought before. It was a very simple question, but it felt big and heavy. The question was, are we really married? Was our wedding real? Was our life together for 10 years based on something that was not true? My mind felt confused. My happy feeling from finding the paper was gone. A new, cold feeling took its place. This paper, this missing signature, changed everything. 2. A big secret. The paper I found was still in my mind. It was the marriage certificate, but it had no names signed on the lines. I felt a cold fear. I wanted to ask Kent about it right away. That evening, when we were quiet, I showed him the paper. My hands were shaking a little. I said, "Kent, this paper, it's not signed. Why?" He looked at it for a moment. Then he smiled his usual warm smile. He put his arm around me. "Oh, that old thing," he said softly. "Don't worry about papers, Mindy. They are just papers. We have our love. That is real." He kissed my head. He sounded calm, but his answer did not calm me. It made the feeling worse. Why didn't he just explain? Why did he say, "Don't worry"? It felt like he was hiding something. That night I could not sleep. His words played in my head. "Don't worry about papers." but the paper felt very important. If we were married, why wasn't it signed? The question stayed with me like a dark cloud. I started to think about other papers in our house. Important papers. Over the next few days, I began to look. When Kent was at work, I looked through drawers and files. I looked at bank statements. I looked at papers for the house. I looked at car papers. My heart felt heavy as I searched. I found many papers, but I found something missing. My name was not on the paper for the house. It was only Kent's name. My name was not on the main bank accounts. Again, only his name. I looked at other important documents. It was the same. My name was not there. It was like I did not exist on these papers. I felt a strange, terrible feeling. For 10 years, I thought I was a wife. I shared a home, a life, everything with Kent. But on paper, I was nothing. My name was on nothing important. It was like I was a ghost in my own home, in my own life. The paper I found was not just one secret. It felt like the start of a very big secret, a secret that touched everything. 3. Another woman. Mindy felt a growing fear. The paper she found, the bank papers, the house deed, they all felt wrong. Her heart was not calm anymore. She looked at Kent, the man she lived with, the man she thought was her husband. Was he telling her the truth about anything? She did not know who he was now. A cold feeling stayed with her all the time. She remembered their mornings, the laughter, the feeling of safety. Now that feeling was gone. One evening, Kent said he had a work meeting. He said he would be late. He often had meetings in the evening. But this time, Mindy did not believe him. Her feeling was strong and bad. She felt she had to know the truth, not just about the marriage paper, but about everything she now suspected. She made a decision quickly. She waited until Kent left the house. Then she went out too. She got into her car. She drove slowly through the streets, looking. She looked for his car. Where did he go for a work meeting on a Tuesday night? After driving for some time, she saw his car. It was parked on a street near a nice restaurant. The restaurant had soft lights and looked warm inside. Mindy stopped her car a little way back in the shadows. She watched the front of the restaurant carefully. Soon, she saw Kent. He was standing outside the restaurant door. He was not alone. A woman was with him. The woman was tall and looked very pretty. She had long, dark hair and a kind face. She was smiling at Kent, a wide, happy smile. Kent smiled back at her. He looked happy and relaxed. He did not look like he was going to a serious work meeting. He looked like he was meeting someone special. He looked at the woman with warm eyes. Then Mindy saw him move his hand. He reached out and softly touched the woman's hand. They stood there for a moment, just the two of them. They looked at each other and shared a quiet, private smile. It was a moment for them, not for work. It was clear they knew each other well, maybe more than well. Mindy felt a sudden, sharp pain in her chest. It was like a fire burning inside her. Her breath felt stuck. This was worse than finding the paper. This was much, much worse. She sat in her car watching them. Tears came to her eyes. She had given Kent 10 years of her life. 10 years of sharing a home, a bed, a life. She thought they had a real life, a real marriage. Now she saw this. He was with another woman. He was touching her hand. They were sharing smiles meant only for each other. It was clear. Kent was not just lying about the marriage paper and their legal life together. He was also with someone else. He was cheating on her. The pain was very deep. It was not just about the papers, the house, or the money anymore. It was about love or the lack of it. It was about betrayal of the heart. It was about his promises, which now felt empty. Was everything a lie? She felt completely alone in her car. The street lights were bright outside, but inside her car, it felt dark and cold. How could he do this after 10 years of living together? How could he lie about so much, about every part of their life? She stayed there for a long time, watching until they went inside the warm, bright restaurant. She sat and thought. She cried quietly, the tears cold on her face. The man she loved, the man she called her husband for a decade, was not the man she knew. He was a stranger who kept big secrets and met other women for private moments. The image of him touching the other woman's hand, the private smile they shared, it stayed in her mind. It hurt more than finding the unsigned marriage paper ever could. It felt like the end of everything she knew, everything she believed. Her suspicion was true. He was with someone else. He was cheating. The pain was almost too much to bear. For, not really married, I needed to know the truth. I needed to know for sure. I decided to go to a place where I could find the official information. This place was an office in the city. Here, they kept records of important things like marriages. I went there by myself. My heart felt heavy in my chest. I walked into the building. It felt cold and quiet inside. I found the right office. There was a woman sitting behind a desk. She looked kind. I walked up to her. I told her my name, Mindy. I told her Kent's name. I asked her if she could find a record of our marriage. I gave her the date I thought we got married, the date from the paper I found. My hands felt cold. The woman nodded. She looked at her computer screen. She typed on the keyboard. The sound was loud in the quiet room. I watched her face. I waited. Every second felt very long. I held my breath. She looked at the computer for a long time. Then she looked up at me. Her eyes looked sad. She spoke softly. She said she was sorry. She said there was no record. She said there was no marriage certificate for Mindy and Kent in the city records. She checked the date again. She checked our names again. But the answer was the same. There was nothing. My legs felt weak. It was like the floor was not under my feet anymore. 10 years. 10 years of my life. I thought I was a wife. I had a home. I had a husband. We had a life together. But according to this official place, it was not real. Not in the eyes of the law. It was like my marriage never happened. The woman looked at me with pity. I could not speak. My mind was full of noise, but my mouth was silent. I thanked her quietly. I turned and walked away from the desk. I walked out of the office. I walked out of the building. The city outside felt different. The cars, the people, the buildings, everything seemed strange. My life with Kent, the life I thought was strong and true for 10 whole years, was built on nothing official. It was like a dream, but a bad dream. A lie, a big, long lie. The truth was here now, and it hurt more than I could ever imagine. We were not really married. 5, a life of lies. I stood there in the house. Kent was near me. In my hands, I held the paper, the unsigned paper. It felt heavy. It felt like a terrible weight. My voice was not loud. It was very quiet. "Why?" I asked him, just one simple word, but it meant everything. It meant 10 years, 10 years of my life. He looked at me. His eyes did not look happy. He said, "Mindy, I love you." He said these words. "We don't need papers." He said, "Papers are not important for real love." My heart felt like a stone, a heavy stone. "You lied," I screamed at him. My voice was loud now, very loud. "You lied to me for 10 years. I could not stop the words. Everything was a lie. This house, our life, you lied about everything. The air felt thick. It was hard to breathe. He took a step towards me. He put out his hands. He wanted to hold me. No, I could not let him. I pushed his hands away. My hands were shaking so much. I did not want him to touch me, not ever again, not after all the lies. My body felt strange, cold and hot at the same time. My heart was not just broken, it felt like dust inside my chest. It was not a heart anymore. It was just pain. This man, this house, this life, all a story he made up. A story where I was the main character, but I did not know the truth. I turned away from him. I walked quickly to the bedroom. I opened the closet door. I took out a small bag, not my big bag, just a small one. I opened it. My hands still shook. I put some clothes inside. Not many things, just a few clothes. A brush for my hair. Nothing more. I did not think about what I was doing. My body just moved. My mind felt empty and full of pain at the same time. I closed the bag. I walked back to the front door. I did not look at Kent. I could feel him watching me. But I did not look. I could not. I opened the door. The outside air came in. It felt cold on my face. I stepped outside. I closed the door behind me. Slowly, quietly. I did not run. I just walked away, down the street, away from the house, away from him, away from the 10 years of lies. It was over. My life was a lie, and now I was walking away from it. I walked into the world alone. 6. A new start. Mindy needed a new start after leaving the life she thought was hers for 10 years. Her heart was heavy, and she felt lost and weak. She knew she had to do something for herself to feel strong again inside and out. She decided to join a local gym. It felt strange at first, being in a new place alone, but she pushed herself to go. She started working out, focusing on moving her body. It helped take her mind off the pain and the many questions in her head. At the gym, she focused on moving her body. It helped take her mind off the pain. After a few weeks, she noticed one of the trainers, a man named Luca. He had a kind face and a smile that looked very honest. He often said hello and asked how her workout was going. Slowly, they started talking more after her exercise sessions. Luca was different from anyone she had met in a long time. He was a good listener, quiet but attentive. Mindy found herself telling him parts of her story, things she could not tell just anyone. She spoke about the past decade, the shock of finding the unsigned paper, and the terrible feeling of living a lie for so long. Luca listened without saying much, just nodding and showing he understood with his eyes. He did not ask difficult questions or tell her what she should do. He simply heard her pain with empathy. One evening, after a long talk, Luca looked at her with kind eyes. "Mindy," he said softly, "you are a strong woman to go through all that. It takes courage to leave. You deserve real love. A love that is true and open with no secrets." His words were like water on dry ground for her heart. They made her feel seen and valued for the first time in a long time. She had forgotten what it felt like to be truly seen. Later, as they finished talking, Luca gently reached out and held her hand for a moment. It was a simple touch, but it sent a wave of warmth through her body. It was a feeling of connection, of safety, and of something real. This simple touch was more honest than 10 years of lies she had lived. Being with Luca, even just talking to him at the gym, helped Mindy start to heal. The heavy sadness in her chest began to feel a little lighter each day. She found herself smiling more often, even laughing sometimes, something she had not done for many weeks. The gym was no longer just a place to exercise. It was a place where she felt a little bit of hope returning to her life. Luca's presence was a reminder that good people existed and that a new, better future was possible for her. He did not have to do much. His genuine kindness and honesty were enough to start building trust again. He was helping her build a new foundation for her life, one based on truth and respect, not secrets and pretending. She was grateful for this new connection, this new start. 7. Kent returns. One day, there was a knock at the door of my new apartment. It was Kent. He looked tired and sad. His eyes were red, like he had been crying a lot. Seeing him here was a surprise. "My apartment is small, but it feels safe for me now." He stood there for a moment, not saying anything. Then he started to speak. He said my name softly. He told me that leaving was a terrible mistake. He said losing me made him see things clearly. He told me he was so sorry for everything. He said he made a very big mistake by lying to me for 10 years. He said he knew now that paper, the marriage certificate, was important. He begged me to come back home. He said he wanted us to be a family again. He looked at me with sad eyes and asked me to forgive him. He said he wanted to marry me. He said this time it would be real. He promised me this time would be different, true, and honest. He said we could go to the city office together and sign the paper. He said he wanted to do everything right this time. I looked at his face. I saw the man I thought I knew for 10 years, but something was different inside me. I listened to his words, his promises, and his crying. But I did not feel the same love I felt before. The old feeling was not there. It was like looking at a person from a long time ago. His love, the love he showed me, was not a simple love. It had secrets hidden inside it. It had conditions that I did not know about. It was built on lies. Thinking about this made me feel a little cold. Then I thought about Luca. I thought about his kind eyes and his honest smile. I remembered how he listened to me without judging. I remembered the feeling of peace when I was with him. Thinking about Luca felt warm and calm. It was a feeling I did not have when I looked at Kent now. I knew in that moment that my feelings had changed. The path ahead felt clearer, and it was not the path back to Kent. 8. My own choice. Kent stood in front of me, asking with sad eyes for another chance. He promised things would be different this time. He said he would marry me for real. On the other side, there was Luca, waiting patiently. He was a good man, showing me kindness and honesty after so much pain. 2 paths lay open before me. But I looked at both paths and knew they were not mine to walk right now. This was my life, and it was time for my own true choice. I looked at Kent again. My heart did not feel the old connection. The past was too heavy with secrets and lies. I had spent 10 years believing something that was not real. I needed truth now, not more promises. With a calm voice, I told him no. I explained that I could not go back. My time with him was over. It was finished. He looked surprised, then sad, but I knew it was the right decision for me. Thinking of Luca brought a smile. He was a light in a dark time. He made me feel seen and valued, but a new relationship felt too fast. I had just found my way out of a long, confusing time. I needed space to heal completely. I needed to understand myself as a person, not as part of a couple. So I spoke to Luca honestly. I told him how much I appreciated him. I told him I needed time alone to find myself. He was understanding and supportive. This felt like the first time in many years that I was putting myself first. It was a new feeling, a little scary, but also very powerful. My next step was clear. I would go back to school. I had always wanted to finish my university degree, but life with Kent had taken a different turn. Now was the time to focus on my education and build a strong future for myself. I found a small, comfortable apartment. It was not big, but it was all mine. I chose the color of the walls, the simple furniture, everything. It was a place where I felt safe and free. I spent time reading, learning, and enjoying the peace. I cooked my favorite meals and invited 1 or 2 friends over sometimes. I was building a life that belonged only to me. Spending time alone was a journey of discovery. I was learning what I liked, what I wanted, and who I was when no one else was around. I was not defined by a man's love or a fake marriage. I was Mindy. This period of my life was about finding my own strength and my own voice. The most important lesson I learned was about choosing truth. Lies hurt deeply. Respect for myself meant choosing honesty, even when it was difficult. And most importantly, it meant choosing myself first. My happiness and well-being were my responsibility. I knew that if love came again one day, it would need to be real, built on trust and mutual respect. For now, my focus was on growing, learning, and becoming the person I wanted to be. This was my choice, and it felt like freedom.